thank the insurance and the employer for being able to do this. If there's one thing that I would suggest to all employers is to make sure that all workplaces are safe.
In the government's vision is very simple. We want to build a better Fiji. Part of that includes the kinds of things that we do in our Ministry of Labour. Ministry of Labour, we have a mission to ensure that there's social justice, that we develop good faith employment relations, and at the same time we want to make sure that all workplaces in Fiji are safe and productive. So in this particular case for Yogen, our first obligation as a ministry is to make sure that all workplaces are safe. That is why we have occupational health and safety. Occupational health and safety is something that is a responsibility for all employers and all workers. That's why it's preventive. It tries to prevent things like this from happening. But when that fails, we have workers' compensation. So if the OHS fails and something happens, the people that are injured or die, they should get some money that helps them get on with their lives or helps their dependents get on with their lives. That's the role of government, and that's the role of this ministry, and that's what we've done in this case, and that is what we will continue to do. We're very strict on OHS compliance, but at the end of the day, you must think of OHS as something that's everybody's responsibility. You, the workers, you must make sure that OHS is followed. Sometimes the workers know that things are not okay, they still do it. The employer must make sure. So at the management of risks is a joint responsibility, not just the owner of the organization, but the workers themselves work together. That's why we have things like occupational health and safety. So we try to encourage them to make sure that workplaces are safe. But when that fails, then the Ministry of Labour will come in, and we have fines. We will take people to court if they are not meeting occupational health and safety requirements. We are in the midst of improving our workmen's compensation legislation. We're trying to move to a system where there's no fault, and we reduce the time lag between the time that the injury happens and the time that the payout is done. In the current system, we have to wait for the employer to pay or the insurers to pay. In the new system that we are intending to introduce, it will be a no-fault system, so that there's always a pool of money available. They'll be collecting that money in various means. That will mean as soon as an injury takes place, there can be a short time between the time the injury takes place and the payout is done. So if you have a short time, that allows the family to continue. People have to go to school, people have to pay for their food and all that thing. So that new scheme is something that we hope to introduce before the end of this year. That is the last major reform in my ministry, to reform the workers' compensation. First of all, to increase the level of payout, because the amount of money that we currently pay is far too low. It's been in place for a long time. And secondly, to reduce the amount of time it takes to make the payout. That is the biggest reform that we have ongoing at the moment. I think, of course, developed countries are developed countries. When you have a developed country, that means everything is very developed. Relative to all of the other Pacific Island countries, we are at a standard that is far above them. We have been tracking our number of accidents that we have in the workplace, and it has been reducing considerably. So using that particular stats in terms of workplace accidents, we compare quite well with other countries. And that shows that our occupational health and safety laws has improved the life of the people that are working. So while we still have problems every now and then, but overall it has improved. And relative to our other countries in the Pacific, we are far off, better off than them.